Hi guys and welcome to the 2023 Hoenn Tour. I am Chris Yakuza and this is my roundup of how the tour went in Scotland. I can probably promise you it's going to be a different experience from most other videos that you've seen with the Hoenn Tour. We're in a rural area, for instance. To my left will be the whole research story from start to finish. All the tasks will be getting done, everything will be there. So the video is a little bit late. It has been like, it was like 2 days, 8 hours long each day. It's like 16 hours of footage that I've had to boil down into what's basically half an hour. So I think I did alright. Now in Scotland, obviously it's not going to be nice sunny photos like what the Las Vegas one was. I can assure you it was cold as oh hell. I think I went about most of the day like looking like cast form, if you get my drift. If you went to the Las Vegas event, good for you. I don't think I'll ever be spending that kind of money to get a plane ticket to fly to Las Vegas to wander about with a phone in my hand all day. But each to their own. If that's what you like, you just keep going, son. As for this task here, power up a Pokemon 15 times, it is in every single one of my videos. I swear to God they can't think of anything else to do in this game. It has me about pulling my beard out. You know, it's ridiculous. Collection challenges, they really weren't difficult. It's an hour a piece on each region. It was like, so you were gonna get most of them on the first day, if not all. There's a lot for me to fit into this video and I'm trying my best to narrow this down to 30 minutes or less, but we'll see how we go. You had to pick one of three, choose like a path to follow. It was either going to be Gulpin or it was going to be Cacnea. I went with Cacnea, mainly because I wanted the shiny version, and the same with Gulpin really, but to be honest, I kind of just thought I'd find him in the wild. I wasn't disappointed, I did actually find him. But Surskit, like, who picked Surskit? I don't know a lot of people who would have picked him. Speaking of tasks, this is one of the main things I want to talk about. The fact that you had a few days before the tour basically do these random tasks and you would earn the ticket. And normally you would have to pay for the ticket. So when they brought it out for free, I did kind of wonder, maybe they're being really nice to people. Maybe this is their way of bringing new players into the game. And for the most part, yes, I did meet a few people who had just sort of either newly started or just come back to the game. And I thought, that makes sense. However, as the day progressed and the tasks progressed, it was quite easy to see there was no way any new player was ever going to manage half of these things. Like, when it got to the, I think it was the third set of tasks, we're looking at a task which is defeat Groudon and catch him. Or catch a Groudon. I can't remember how it was phrased. But what I do remember is these Primal Raids that they featured during the tour were not easy at all, and it would take at least 10, 12 people just to do one raid. And to be fair, who's got the numbers in a rural area? It is really difficult. It's like those old X raids and elite raids where they kept plugging hoop at. Well, gathering a crowd in a rural area is nearly impossible. This was a nice feature though. I did like to see that they brought Latios and Latios into the wild with a safari. You know, you could like take a photo and you'd get a chance at another one. It was a nice touch to bring a legendary to the wild. It was a good thing that you could, maybe catch him. He was hard to catch. I seen this guy, he was like level 25. He must have wasted about 40 of each kind of Pokeball just trying to catch one Latios. And when he caught it, I'm not wrong, he was happy, but my God, did it take a long time. And it's brutal. Like, for a new player to instantly begin to question how long am I going to play this for? He was a little demoralised. I was more demoralised with these. The research tasks being blotted out. I'm out to enjoy myself with my mates, and when I see all these blotted out stuff, I've not got time while I'm on the move to try and work out what these things were. And when we did discover what they were, I have to say, field research, the rewards were disgusting. Absolute shambles. You were looking at winning a Primal Raid and your reward was a Pikachu. I mean, there's no bigger slap to the face. It's just shocking. Like, that's in no way, shape or form even remotely good. I know he has like his little hat on or little costume on, but really not cool. Not cool at all. To the point where we almost just abandoned doing field research because it was just depressing. You know? And that brings me into Shinies and the shiny rates. Really, I mean, during the tour we assumed that the shiny rate had been upped a little bit, but while we were out in the wild, gotta say, if the shiny rate had been upped, no one really noticed it. As for Kecleon here, out of all 20 people that we were going around with, not one person found the shiny Kecleon. And that was something that we were all kind of sought after. We all had our sights on him, and not even one of us found him. Because either you were doing too many raids, or, well, they just weren't showing. And as for raids, like shinies and raids, nah. It was like, I'm sure the rate is something like 1 in 20 during a legendary raid. So to do a normal Groudon or a normal Kygore, you'd probably be 1 in 20 chance of finding a shiny. I mean, we did near enough every raid we found, and I think maybe 1 in 6 raids we found a shiny. That's not on. It's not improved rates, it's just crap. And the reason I think this happened was because, yes, it's Primal Evolved, but does that have the same rate as a Mega Evolve, which is more like 1 in 64? And it's more likely at the end of the day, since we never really seen that many. But what can you do? I mean, I was lucky enough to get a shiny Kygore. There was about 5 lads got a shiny Groudon. It was very much a complete toss in the air to see whether you got anything. And oh my god, this primal energy, I mean, really? 400 it took to do 1 primal evolution. You were given a task and it gave you 200 like energy for Groudon or 200 energy for Kygore. That's all fine, that's a good boost, that's half of it already, but if you really sat and did the math, it meant that you had to do like another 3 raids on each just to evolve once. And it turned out that that was actually one of the final tasks of the research, was to actually do primal revision. And it's, I mean, if you do the math and you're trying to, if you're not one for spending money, the fact is you're not going to get. Say you didn't use your free daily pass the day before, that means you get 2. So 2, you're going to get 180. You're still 20 short. Doesn't matter which way you swing it, you have to pay money to get a raid pass. Whether it's a premium pass or a remote pass, you still have to pay money. Most people are okay with that, which I went probably about 2 years as a free player, never spending a penny. I think it was mainly last year when I started all this that we actually decided like money needed spent here and there. But we weren't a breaking bank. We weren't spending like no more, say, £10 on passes, like if it was something you really wanted. Or, you know, I mean, a community day ticket's nothing. It's like 99p, whatever. You know, it's not that big a deal. But for passes and such, I would never break over £10. If I ran out, I ran out. But for likes of people who don't have money, like the younger generation that, you know, go out and they don't have access to credit cards or whatever, it was a real bugbear for them because it meant they couldn't do it. And there was one guy who couldn't. It was a young lad called Owen, and I felt really bad for him. I really did. It was awful. You know, he had 99 coins. He needed one more to buy a pass, and that last pass would have bagged him the energy to get a Primal Revision. He went around trying to convince members of like Team Mystic and Team Valor to kick his Pokemon out of the gyms just so he could get one coin. But the window between raids was so small that they had like 2 minutes to like completely wipe out a whole gym just to kick his one guy out. I think he did actually manage to convince someone to help him out, but I mean, there was a group of what 20 of us, and he had to basically ask everybody who's not on instinct, which was not a lot. But he did it. He managed. And while we're on subject of raids, I'm just going to throw this out there. We had one guy, Brandon. He went into every single raid totally half cocked. He had like no potions left, and he's like running into this next raid with just basic revives. Everybody's at half health. He's running in there and he's getting wiped out one after the other. It was shocking, absolutely shocking. And some of the raids were pretty difficult, especially if Groudon had Solar Beam or Kygore had Blizzard. Your teams were being wiped out one by one. They were pretty strong. But I have to say, Groudon in comparison to Kygore was a complete wimp. Like, Kygore was a tank. Probably due to the double weakness that Groudon had, his health went down a lot faster. But wow, yeah, not a lot of people wanted to do Kygore after a while. It was pretty rough. But overall, once the research was in full flow and you got to the point where you had to do Primal Revision, if you hadn't done enough raids, I mean, no new player was ever going to manage to do that. Don't get me wrong, I do believe later, once the tour had finished, they changed the requirements on the tasks to like just finish a normal raid, which isn't hard. It didn't specify it had to be anything in particular, just to finish a raid. Now, that's possible for a new player, but on the day of a tour, not much chance of that happening. Which is a bit of a shame, really, because I mean, it puts a lot of people off. If you're trying to attract new members, that puts people off, and surely that's like the complete opposite of what you want. But I do know for a fact Niantic, they were making bank the whole of that tour, like for sure. I'm pretty sure they've got our photos on a wall somewhere, and yep, pretty bad. Luckily for me, I'm actually able to show you both Primal Revisions of Kygore and Groudon, which will come up soon enough. I've also managed to get both of the Primal Revisions for the shiny versions of Kygore and Groudon, so they're both there. Check them out. I have to say, the shiny versions of the revisions look really cool. I like Kygore better because he kept his original shiny purple on the ends of his fins, whereas Groudon kind of lost most of the original shiny feature. As for beating a Team Rocket leader, there's nothing difficult about them really, but I do have my heart set on getting a shiny Beldum, which is really difficult, but luckily it is the very stunning Sierra that has got Beldum, so it's always good to see her going about in her jumpsuit. That's rough. But overall, how was the tour? It was actually pretty good. It was. For what it was actually kind of decent. And on a community day, we'll normally find it's me, Gemma, probably Stuart, and maybe a small group. We'll say about 6 or 7 of us go out. But on the tour, we discovered that there's a lot more people play than what you might think in our little area, and it turned out to be a group of 20, which is something else. I mean, the numbers dwindled a little bit through the day, but on average, we were about 16 players, like all day. Day 2, not so much. I think once you'd kind of had the novelty of it, it kind of got a bit and you just didn't want to do it anymore. But there wasn't many shiny spawns. That was a bit of a disappointment. And as for locking this Relicanth behind 10k eggs, come on guys, that was another one, a cash maker, just so you bought egg incubators. That is shocking. However, none of us got the shiny version of him either. Bit of a letdown. But I will tell you that my last video, I believe I mentioned Valentine's Day came up, and I did manage to get my Hoenn badge for getting the whole Pokédex finished. But Valentine's Day was the day that they brought Love Disc back in the game, and I said that I was hunting for that golden heart. Well, I got my shiny Love Disc, my golden heart. I managed to get it 3 days before Valentine's Day in a research task, so I was quite happy. And not long, I'd say 3 days before the tour, they brought Rayquaza back. I managed to get not only the Hundo, but I also managed to get the shiny not long after it with really good stats. That was followed up by me doing a Mega Latios, and I actually managed to get Shundo. We are talking a really very lucky catch here, and it was just enough to give me the energy to push into Mega Evolution. So I now have a shiny Mega Evolved Latios. Very happy with that. But was my shiny luck wasted like 3 or 4 days before the tour? Well, here's our scoreboard, the one that we all love to see. And this is how I did. Up top, I got 9. Gemma also got 9. Can't have that. No. However, day 2, I got 8. Gemma only got 5, which makes me the winner. Of course, I mean, I had to win. Come on. Wouldn't be a game otherwise, would it? So, that was it for the Hoenn Tour. What do I think? Could have been better in some aspects. The shiny rate, it wasn't up, and it needed to be. It kept people interested. In fact, day 2, Gemma spent more time actually hunting down shinies than she did raiding, and it didn't pay off, which is a real shame. But that's just how the game played, you know. End of the day, I would like to say thank you to our massive group that turned out for it. So I actually have our group photo right here. I'm never going to remember everybody's names. I know that's bad. I should have taken notes or something. But fact is, thank you all for showing up on the tour day. You all helped really well, especially in the raids. It was amazing to hear a group of guys just all going for glory on this one. I see the remark shouting out shiny seems to be kind of universal, so it's good to hear that some folk are actually enjoying themselves on a day out. I'd also like to take an opportunity to thank our remote players who have helped us throughout every single raid, whether it was the tour or not. These are the guys who are always there and jumping out to help us. And that's all I've really got time for. So thank you everybody who was involved during the tour, or just whoever raids with us in general. It's been great to have you over the past year and a bit. Hopefully we'll have more of that kind of thing going on. We did have a little peek into next season, which is the Rising Heroes. This kind of jumps out to me that maybe there's a chance that Agent Smith might be showing up dressed as a different hero every time. Being the cosplayer that he is, I'm expecting to see Batman on day one, Captain America on another day. Does not give you the excuse to cosplay while you're out, boy. Also, they're bringing back Elite Raids, which will be interesting. I believe Regidrago is the first. I will be jumping onto that as soon as I can, so watch this space. I might just put a video. No, in fact, I'll include it. The next Community Day video, which will be Slowpoke, will be putting them in there with that. In case you hadn't noticed, I'm not exactly one for pushing like a video out on the day it happens. To be honest, it's all past tense, even on the day it happens. There's nothing more I could tell you. I'm just here to give you a rundown on how Pokemon Go goes in a rural area like Scotland, and basically just tell you how things went in my perspective. So anyway, that's all I've got time for. I've like a dozen other games that I've been recording for, and to be honest, this video was almost deleted like 3 times. I almost didn't make one entirely because it was just too much cutting and pasting, but I decided to stick with it and just get on with it. So I hope you enjoyed what you saw. Hope you can agree with half the stuff I've said. Please leave me a like or a comment and subscribe if you haven't already. I look forward to hearing from you, and giving me a like helps me out on the old algorithm on YouTube. So until next time, see you later guys.